what running teaches us. So in terms of what it can teach us, I think it can teach us discipline in terms of the way we go out running, or can go out running, even when we don't feel like it, or even if the weather's a bit crap, or we've had a big night the night before. If anything, right now, running is something of a saviour in terms of helping people get out of the house right now. So in terms of the discipline, it's about ultimately teaching us how we can do something even when we don't feel like it. And the more we do it, the more we go running, the more we realise that it gets easier. So that's the first thing in terms of what running can teach us. The second thing is in terms of how it helps us learn to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Particularly if you're running really hard, you're doing intervals, or you're running generally quicker than you normally would. We can apply this to the rest of your life, really, along everything else that you're doing. If you can do it in your running, then you can do it elsewhere, right? In terms of pushing yourself and suffering sometimes in your running, if you're doing intervals or you're running uphill or whatever it is. It teaches us to suffer and to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So we've got discipline, we've got being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Also, running can teach us that even with just a little bit of guidance, it can make a lot of difference. So what I mean by this one is, when I first started running, it was just me, and I thought I knew what I was doing, but lo and behold, I got injured. I thought I knew best. I got injured. I was running 6-7 days a week, and I had shin splints, I had hip issues, I had a sleepy bum, and then all it took was to reach out and find help, get the right kind of help in terms of getting help from other runners and forums and physios and chiropractors that I was paying for over the years, and they helped me see that guidance is so important nowadays. If you get even just a little bit of guidance, it can make a lot of difference. And in the case of the chiropractors and physios and all the other experts that I leaned on, they gave me basically shortcuts that I could then apply to my running, so that I found it easier. I wasn't getting injured anywhere near as much, and I could then pass on those lessons to my clients as well. So we've had discipline, we've had being comfortable with being uncomfortable, we've had guidance, and the final one of what running can teach you is that you get out what you put in. And what I mean by this is, with running, the more consistent you are with your training, the more invested you are in it in terms of your commitment, and all of those other things I've already talked about in terms of the discipline and the suffering and everything else. The more you put into it, the more you commit to it, the more you get out. And it's a beautiful lesson, a life lesson in terms of how you can apply that to everything else. The more effort you put into something, the more results you're going to get out the other end. So they're my lessons that I've picked up from running over the years. Discipline, suffering, you get out what you put in, and the other, which I can't remember right now, but all equally important.